Alright, what's going on YouTube? I owe you a video. I know it. I'm sorry. Today is going to be another progress update video because work's just kicked my ass and personal life is out of control, right? So I've been trying to create content for you, so we may have some overlays, maybe some voiceovers or something, maybe. We'll figure it out in editing. But let's cover all the progress on what's been going on in the Nova since the last video back this summer. Obviously, we aligned the subframe. My brother-in-law, Bobbert, thank you very much, buddy, came over, helped me align this because it was a goddamn nightmare. But we finally got it in place. It's right where it's supposed to be. All the fenders fit. Gaps are pretty good. Minus the sheet metal work we still need to do from like here forward. Oh, there's so much. All right. But I had to put the hood on because I needed to test fit it. And you're going to be like, why, Cap, what you doing? We'll get to it. Gotta rebuild my hinges. I don't always want to sit down on the first time. Trip down memory lane. Remember old, ugly, nasty truck intake? No, she's still ugly. She ain't nasty no more. I actually spent the day, wasted day, a whole bunch of materials cleaning that fucker up, only to find out that it's useless. Throttle body too. It's all damaged. It's no good. I had to replace it. While we're over here, just give you a little preview of my scrap pile of shit. Chop suey, we'll cover that in a little bit here. So, you know, the intake was bad. Obviously, the old intake didn't really fit underneath the hood properly. So why replace when you can upgrade? Oh man, that's dark. Let's see, does this have enough light? Oh yeah, still got enough charge. Okay. New NNBS, or more commonly referred to Trailblazer SS intake manifold. I really should have gone with an LS2 intake manifold, just because all my accessory drives are shot, but then I wouldn't have had any issues. It would have looked a lot better, but I couldn't find the smoking deal that I did on this setup. And I found this setup on Amazon of all places. I couldn't believe how cheap I got some of the stuff, and cheap speaks to me. I'm a cheap motherfucker. That throttle body, it's usually like $220-ish, you know, somewhere between $200 and $220 online, and I found it $50 cheaper on Amazon of all places. This intake, it's from a GM dealership on Amazon. Look at all fucking stamps and stickers and shit, right? Cheaper than a Dorman truck replacement. So I just couldn't beat it. I couldn't pass it up. So I still have a little bit of hood clearance concerns. It does fit. So here's a little overlay real quick so you can see how close it freaking gets. But this intake is an inch shorter than the truck intake. It's just where the concern was from a hood clearance issue was where the new map sensor goes. Or I should say the old map sensor. I'm reusing the truck map. But where the port provision for it is. It's right where the freaking hood brace is. And that was the exact same spot that we had to do some chopping on the old truck intake to make the hood close. We're better off. There's at least a little bit of wiggle room, right? But not much. So we got two options, because third would have been going to the LS2 intake, and I already bought this, can't return it, so I'm stuck with it. So option one is I can trim back this hood brace, right? You guys see my videos, hopefully you have. You know I got sheet metal skills, right? I can manipulate metal. So there's an inch between the sheet metal of the hood and the bottom of the brace. I can trim it up and reinforce it and hopefully get at least a ½ inch or 3/4 of an inch clearance there. That's going to be more than enough in case like the motor mounts ever have excessive give or they wear out, that I'm not going to bump the underneath of the hood. So we're going to be doing that. That's 100% for sure. Option two is relocating the map sensor, right? Now, I was always going to shave and bodywork and paint the old freaking ugly, nasty truck intake manifold, and we can do the same thing here. So we can take that map sensor and move it anywhere on the intake we want, including behind it. Bodywork, paint, and that should give me another 1.25 inches, because that's how much space that post for the map sensor takes up with the sensor itself. So 1.25 inches maximum, plus 3/4 inches maximum, 2 inches. You know, what guy is not going to complain about 2 inches, right? Sorry, had to go there. Couldn't help myself. All right. We modified up the original truck bracket It's actually the old throttle body bracket. You can see this here, this piece. We just chopped it all to hell, slid it up underneath this brand new $10 Amazon bracket for this intake, for the throttle cable. And that holds it securely in place. I do have an extra O-ring on the post to seal it up so there's no vacuum leak. But man, that's solid. It's not moving anywhere. So if I leave this alone, I don't think I will, but if I leave it alone, it's more than perfectly fine. All right, this is all set, ready to go, minus the injectors. YouTube, help me out here. I keep getting conflicting information when I look up what is supposed to fit the 99 to 02 6-liter trucks. They say it's supposed to be a 24 or 25 pounder injector, but when I look up the part number on the injector itself, it shows as a 19 pounder. So I don't know what is actually correct. And if my math is correct, and it never usually is off right off the bat, 19 pounders or even 24 pounders are still going to be pretty shy of the proper duty cycle to run what I'm doing here, right? Refresher for you guys that don't know, Texas Speed Torquer V2 cam. It's a healthy cam. It's not really aggressive, but it's not mild either, right? 232 intake, 234 exhaust, if I remember correctly, 600 lift. So it's a decent sized cam. I'm running 243 heads to bump the compression back up on these anemic 99 engines. Really need that compression bump. Set of long tube headers. I believe these are 1 7/8. And then this intake and throttle body. So I really don't have a whole wild, it's a very mild build actually. But I'm assuming it's going to be somewhere between 4 and maybe 450 horsepower at the flywheel. That's my guess anyways, right? So do you think 24, 25 pounders are going to work? And do I really have 24, 25 pounders? I don't know. Help me out. Comment below. Otherwise, I'm due to the conflicting information on Google searches. All right. As I talked about, I really should have gone with the LS2 intake so that I didn't have to deal with any of the ugliness of a truck intake, even though that does look pretty nice, but also the carb height profile. And I kind of need the F-body spacing. It's getting a little tight between the radiator and the, you can see there's not a lot of room. It's just over 5 inches. So I might need to get the F-body spacing so that I can get an extra inch clearance here. Because when I'm looking at either doing a clutch style fan with the shroud or the electric fan setup with the shroud, it does not have enough room unless I go with the slim profile electric fans. And I don't think those things flow very well. I've always seen guys talk about overheating issues and shit with that. I don't want to chance that crap. So I think I need bigger, better CFM out of electric fans, or even with the clutch style old mechanical ones, which work great. Just they don't always look the best. But you guys tell me, give me your thoughts. We do have the new radiator up here. It's a Champion 3-core radiator. It is really supposed to be meant for this core support. It's meant for this car. It's supposed to be. It's not. It doesn't fit the factory mounting system. It's close, but it's not exactly correct. It doesn't really matter. I was going to be redoing it all anyways. So you guys understand, I'm going to be closing out all this paneling around here so that you only see the engine itself, not the suspension of the frame. You're not going to see a lot of the accessory brackets or the water pump itself. There's going to be covers of stuff all hidden up underneath here. The other problem that I have is all of my accessory components are shot. Even the idlers and tensioners, all that stuff, the alternator, the power steering pump, the AC compressor, they're all fucking shot. So I need to replace it all anyways. And I'm really leaning towards the China cut Amazon bullshit bracketry. I will upgrade all the pulleys and tensioners back to GM stuff, and I will be buying GM components like the alternator and power steering stuff. I'm actually thinking about moving the alternator to the lower section, moving the power steering pump up, and then I don't have a clearance issue with the power steering pump lines getting to the steering box. That's kind of the thoughts process that I'm going with. All right, new quick ratio steering box. So I pulled the trigger on that. New rag joint. Technically, all the steering's hooked up. I gotta find my steering now. It's somewhere packed up in here, but if I hook that up, then technically all the mechanical for the steering is all done. Getting that fucker in there, man. Holly, you fuckers, you lie. I'm not going to go into a bitch fest, but man, that's just extremely disappointing. Yeah, my chop suey. It looks like a fucking mess here. This was all draped through the engine, or over the windshield into the engine bay, before I had the hood on. And I had it all hooked up to the engine and transmission. I'm actually going to start the motor like this, right? We're going to mount the ECU somewhere up underneath the dash, run the wiring right through the windshield opening, start the sumbitch up, get it up to temp, make sure everything seals, no leaks, no problems with my refresh. Then we'll hook it up to the bulkhead, we'll de-pin the wiring and loom it all nice and pretty, and then tuck it all nice in here into the engine bay where you won't see too much of, you know, clusterfuck, right? It's going to be very minimalistic is what I'm looking for doing. We got her on cribs here because we're doing the fuel system. My workbench is always the trunk lid of the Nova. New fuel line, 6AN line, 6AN fittings. Hell, I even got AN fittings for the trans cooling lines, because I'll be reusing some of this line. This is 25 feet. It should be more than enough from back here to the engine bay, to the fuel rail, and then back to the tank. So I should have enough left over to get to from the transmission up to the trans cooler. We'll see. If not, I'll buy some more. This stuff was actually really good price. Evil Energy on Amazon. Yeah, here it is. Evil Energy. They've actually got really good products, really good pricing. Everything I needed for everything that came with my new fuel tank. GPA 6 pump from Walbro. New sensors and gauges and all that shit. New filler neck, because we absolutely want to have the fuel fill and exit right up underneath the license plate. And what I mean by exit, for those of you who don't know, these old cars that had this set up, you'd fill it up and then you go take off from the fucking gas station and all that fuel would come sloshing out the back of the freaking fuel filler neck. We're going to have a sealed cap on this though and have a separate vent. Here's your vent. So we won't have fuel sloshing out of there, but I absolutely want that old school feeling of popping the license plate, putting fuel in. Now we come to the Tanks Incorporated fuel tank. Really, really nice tank. I do like this tank a lot, right? Unfortunately, it doesn't fit, right? This brand new, beautiful tank, I measured between my leaf springs 39.25 inches. Tank was advertised as 38.25. And technically it's true, because they don't count the flange. So beware, guys. When you go to look for a fuel cell, fuel tank, the flange is not included in the measurements. Beware of that. I did not know that. So the 38.25 this tank measures as is true. Add the half-inch flange all the way around, and you get width-wise of 39.25, which rubs on the fucking leaf springs. Now, the other piece that doesn't make this work, and this is on me 100%, is I did not account for the offset shackles, these bad boys, for the leaf springs, right? So this is a Detroit Speed mini tubbed kit. This is Detroit Speed's mini suspension system, both front and back. This is their offset shackle that moves this leaf spring from here over to here, gives you an additional 2.5 inches of tire clearance when you cut in your frame and notch it and put in your bigger wheel tubs. So we should be able to run like a 12.5 inch wide tire back here. I'm not going to, but it's nice to know that I could if I wanted to. But here's the straps, right? You can see they have a different shape to them than the factory, if you know what I'm talking about. So the tank is deeper instead of wider to keep the same 19-gallon fuel capacity, I think is what it is. Problem is I didn't know this because I didn't have the straps or the tank and anything, but you can see here, right where this bolt is right where the front of the fucking tank would be, or the rear of the tank, whichever way you want to quantify that as. I didn't know that. So the offset shackle is 35.5 inches from shackle to shackle. Yeah. So I gotta cut this tank up, right? I can't return it. I've already scratched the shit out of it. It's already past its return window. So I'm gonna cut this tank up. I'm actually gonna send this to a fabricator buddy of mine, and he's gonna cut this up and re-weld it back together for me, because he can do it in one shot. I can do it. I have the tools. I have the skills. I'll just fuck it up a couple times beforehand, and I'll probably be chasing leaks, and you don't want to be doing that with a fuel tank. So I'm just going to take it to a buddy and have him do it because he does fabrication and welding all day long as his job. He owns his own shop, and he's a fantastic fabricator. If he consents, I'll actually try to get some footage of this stuff for the next video, maybe. We'll see. But why didn't I choose the Detroit Speed tank, since it's Detroit Speed kit and they make a tank that fits? Two major reasons. You can see a theme there too. First was price. The inner cheap ass in me just could not justify spending $1,500+ on a tank that looks like option problem 2, looks like a fuel cell. This looks like a fuel tank, right? It actually looks like the factory fucking fuel tank. You can't tell between this tank and a factory tank, aside from, you know, the dimensions being a little different. It's a little deeper, it's a little narrower, but it looks like the factory fucking tank. Their tank looks like a fuel cell, right? It doesn't have the provisions for like the underneath body work or for where the straps are. It's just a basic fucking fuel cell, right? And of course, it's over twice the price of this bad boy. So I'll still be ahead, even, you know, hand my buddy a fistful of cash to cut and re-weld this shit. I'll still be ahead money-wise. And aesthetics-wise, it's really the main reason. I don't want a fuel cell underneath here. If I did, I would have just fucking bought a fuel cell and fabbed up my own bullshit. Or paid my buddy to do it. So, not a dig on Detroit Speed, just I didn't like the look of their tank. And I didn't like the price of it either. So, yeah, I'm a cheap motherfucker. Go figure. Alright. That brings you up to speed as to what's going on here. We got a bunch of stuff still going on. I still have parts showing up almost on a daily basis. I'm looking at my list over on my board, and I got a ton of shit coming still. So we're going to be mad thrash, throwing stuff at the car. Hopefully within 3 to 6 months, we can get this thing started. It'll probably be middle of fucking winter when I'm doing this, but oh well, go figure. So if you aren't subscribed, join now. Follow along with the shenanigans. Hit the like and subscribe for me if you would. If you haven't already, I do appreciate it. Thoughts, comments, questions, you know what to do. Drop them below. And I'll catch you on the next one, guys. Thanks for watching.